All right. So here's my first question as we begin this teaching today. My first question is, how many of you have goals for this year? How many of you have goals? Just write down if you have goals for the year. Just put in the chat how many have goals. And if you want to even put in what was one of those goals, what was like one of your key goals when January came and you were talking about, okay, I want to achieve this for this year. What was the goal that you had? And what did you write down? It was to flourish, get your book published, 20 wins, professional certification, lose 20 pounds. Great, great stuff, guys. I know we have an amazing group of people here today. I can tell we have a lot of committed people here today, which is awesome. Okay, so you had your goals. Okay, next question. How many of you had them written down? How many of you have them written down? Like, did you write down your goals for the years? You had them, but I bet there's a lot less that actually wrote them down. I see some no's. Thank you for being honest. There's no's, nope, 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 nope. Okay. So writing down your goals is even more important than just having your goals. Now let me ask you this question, which is the key for today. How many of you wrote down your commitments for this year? Put in the chat. Now, be honest. How many of you actually wrote down your commitments for this year? I see one yes. Nope, 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 nope. See, I just spoke to a professional team not too long ago in baseball, asked them the same question. No one wrote down your commitments. And I wonder why, because commitments are greater than goals. Your goals will not take you to where you want to go, actually. It's your commitment to your goals that will take you to where you want to go. And that's why commitments are more important than actual goals because everybody has goals and some write them down. But if you don't stay committed to your goals, you will not achieve them. So to be truly great, to achieve our goals, we have to be committed. And then to be a great teammate, we have to be a committed team. There are commitments that a team must make individually and collectively if they want to be great individually and collectively together. And so, what we're going to talk about today are the 7 commitments of a great team based on this new book that I wrote, and it's coming out in May 20th. You're the first to hear this, and I'm so excited to talk about this. And I just love this book. I have to be honest. I feel like I've been writing this book for 54 years because I'm 54 years old, and I've been on teams my entire life. I lead a team at work. I'm second in command of my team at home. When my daughter's home, I'm third in command. You know how that goes. And being on teams and working with teams, I've learned so much working with teams and being on teams about how teams work and the keys to making a successful team. I also know that it's teams that accomplish incredible things together. And when I wrote this book, it was based on, in many ways, actual work I've done with teams, stories I've heard from leaders and coaches in business and sports, incredible stories that I gathered along the way, and then what I truly believe that teams needed to commit to in order to be great from my own experiences and my own expertise. And I wrote this book, just so you know, I wrote this book in 16 days. 16 days. Now, my son said I should not tell you guys that. He said, because you would think it's not a good book. No, I wrote it because it flowed so magically in those 16 days. All my experiences, all the inspiration, everything that is magical about this book literally came together at one time. And the opening scene is this of the 7 commitments. The opening scene is Coach Richie is on his deathbed. And the main character, Tim, who is struggling with his team at work, he's struggling with his business. His business is basically falling flat. It's actually going downhill. And his team is not committed. And he's sitting at the deathbed of his coach from college, Coach Richie. And Coach Richie says to Tim, remember, Tim, teammates are forever. Teammates are forever. And when I wrote that, I cried because my coach was Coach Richie. And our last conversation, he said that to me. Remember, Jon, teammates are forever. And I could not get that out of my head when Coach Richie said that to me. I've been thinking about it ever since. And I knew I wanted to write a book that asked the question, are teammates forever? I answer that question in the book. And then throughout the book, I share the seven commitments that make a team united and connected and allow them to have the potential to be forever teammates. But you got to read it to find out that they actually become forever teammates and what really makes a team forever. And are teammates really forever? What do you think? Are teammates forever? You think they can be forever? Put in the chat if you think they can. And let me ask you, are you committed to being your best? Do we have a group of committed people today? Are you committed to take action on the things that we talk about today? As I share with you some of these seven commitments, I'm not going to have time to go through all of them, but are you ready to commit and take action to what we talk about? Because that's going to make the difference. Remember, it's not goals, it's commitments. And today I want to begin our talk with the first commitment I'm going to share with you. And it's the commit. It's the commitment. And you have to commit to staying positive together. Great teams are collectively optimistic. They have collective belief and they collectively stay positive. And the collective belief and optimism and positivity of a team is made up of each person's positivity, optimism, and belief. So you as a teammate, it's so important that you decide to stay positive so that you can help your team stay positive because every team's going to face adversity. Every team's going to face challenges and obstacles and setbacks. And it's how we respond to those challenges. It's how we deal with that adversity. It's how we overcome and rise above whatever situation that we're dealing with that determines what kind of success we have in the future. Perhaps your team is dealing with a challenge right now. Almost every team is. Right now in the economy, some people are dealing with tariffs in their businesses. Other people are dealing with situations in the economy that are affecting them. All types of people, all types of teams will always experience setbacks and challenges, but it's ultimately how we respond that determines our success. And it's your belief and your optimism as a team that drives us. I remember working with the Miami Heat, the NBA team, a number of years ago, and they started the season 11 and 30. They finished 30 and 11. 11 and 30, completely turned it around, finished 30 and 11. What happened? Well, second half of the season, most of the teams were giving up. They were pessimistic. They were negative. They were getting down. This team chose to stay positive and united as a team. And as a result of that, they had a great rest of the season and literally were one game away from making it to the playoffs. They didn't have a lot of talent that year, but they had a lot of team. They had a lot of support for each other, a lot of optimism, and a lot of belief. I also remember a number of years ago working with Snapchat. Evan Spiegel, the founder of Snapchat, reached out to me after reading The Power of Positive Leadership. And he's like, "Hey, Jon, I just read your book. I'd love for you to come do a retreat with my leadership team." He said, "We're dealing with a lot of negativity right now. Instagram is coming after our business. Pessimism is seeping into our pores. The marketplace and Wall Street are beating us down, and we are just so negative. Can you help us?" I said, "Yes, I can help you, but you're the smartest people in the world. What am I going to say to you? Do you want me to talk about the cost benefits analysis of being positive? Do you want me to share with you the latest research and data on optimism and belief and how positive teams rise above, overcome, and move forward through challenges? Do you want to share with you how positive leaders are better able to create positive work environments where people perform at a higher level?" He said, "Jon, it's all great, but just help us stay positive," is what he said. And I went there and I gave him a framework for being a positive leadership team together. And they chose right then and there that they were going to be a positive leadership team and they were going to get their entire company to become more positive. And they did. They did. And Evan Spiegel talked about this on my podcast where he shared how it was a defining moment in his life for himself, for his team, for his company. And they were able to turn it around based on that. And here's what I know. Yes, they turned it around. Being positive won't guarantee you'll succeed. I want to be honest about that. But being negative will guarantee you won't. And being optimistic and positive as a team gives you the best chance to succeed. 9 out of 10 people say they work better in a positive environment. Like we know this, but it always makes me wonder who's that 10th person? Like, okay, yeah, I work awesome in a horrible negative environment. But most of us work better in a positive environment when we're optimistic and staying positive, and then we perform at a higher level. And so how do we do that? How do we stay positive? Well, in the book I share 5 ways to stay positive. 5 ways. And it was really cool. I want to give a nod to my teammate, Chad Busick, because Chad looked at my 5 ways and he said, Jon, if you organize these the right way, it actually spells light, Light. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So we created 5 ways to stay positive, live light. And I want to share with you the L in light today. Again, we don't have time to go through all of them, but I want to share with you the love. And the L is love. It's love, like overcoming fear is the key. And how do we do that? We focus on love. So often we're worried about the expectation. We're worried about messing up. We are fearful of the outcome and making a mistake. So many young people are like this. So many adults are like this. When I work with young people, I get them to focus on this aspect of love. And I say, don't worry about the outcome. You just love doing what you're doing. You just love competing if you're an athlete. If you're a musician, you just love performing. If you're in sales, you just love your client and love the opportunity to present to your client. You just focus on loving it. And the minute you focus on loving it, you will not fear it. And that love takes you higher. That love gives you a higher state of mind. I wrote about this in The One Truth. If you haven't read The One Truth, I highly recommend you read it right now. It's available now. It's been out for about a year and a half, 2 years. It is so profound, so helpful in terms of understanding how love casts out fear. Love takes you to a higher state of mind and allows you to focus on being your best. And when a team does this, when they love each other, and they love the moment, they love competing, they love the opportunity, it allows them to truly to rise above and overcome. So love casts out fear, and love makes you more positive, and love makes you stronger, and love strengthens you and your team. So focus on love in the light. All right, I'll share one more of the light. You've all heard of get to instead of have to by now, right? I wrote about this in a no complaining rule in 2008. Even The Rock recently talked about get to versus have to, but it's a great mindset shift in terms of I'm going to focus on what I get to do instead of what I have to do. Because so often it's like I have to go to work, I have to go to this meeting, I have to go do this. No, we get to. And when you change have to get to, you change a complaining voice to an appreciative heart. And I'm convinced abundance will flow into your life when gratitude flows out of your heart. So focus on get to, not have to. Just 2 simple tips to stay positive as a team. And that's the first commitment I wanted to share with you. Great teams stay positive through their challenges together and they commit to staying positive. So that's the first one. Second commitment I want to share with you today is the commitment to give your best. And I just want to talk briefly about this one. I expanded on it more in the book, but what does giving your best mean? Like we often talk about 110%, 120%. Well, you can only give 100%, right? But so often we're not at 100%. So often we're at 70%, 60%, 80%. We're not at our best a lot of times. So here's the key. It's always about giving the best of what you have. That is giving your best, giving the best of what you have to be your ultimate best. So giving your best means I'm going to show up and give everything I have to give my best. And there is a formula in the book on giving your best. And I'll just share one part of the formula that is really key. So often giving your best is about being disciplined. I'm going to be disciplined on a daily basis. Discipline is doing the things that you don't always want to do, but you still have the will to do what you don't want to do because you have to be disciplined because you want to be your best. So discipline is key. And we live in a world that loves to focus on discipline. They're always yelling at people, be disciplined. There's always people on social media, be disciplined. You got to get up. You got to be angry. You got to wake up hating life. You got to hate people. No. I don't believe that's the key. I believe here's the key to discipline. The key to discipline is devotion. The more devoted you are, then discipline is so much easier. When you're devoted, you will have more discipline. Trying to be disciplined without devotion is like swimming upstream. It's like climbing uphill, right? No, that's not how we're supposed to be. If I'm devoted to it and I love it and I care about what I'm doing and I care about the people I'm doing it with it, that devotion drives your discipline. People often say, Jon, like when you're on the road all the time, do you have an accountability partner traveling with you, for your marriage? I go, no, I don't have an accountability partner. I'm devoted to my wife. So that drives my discipline when I'm on the road. Like I'm devoted to her. I have discipline. I'm also scared of her. That's another thing. But but devotion is my main driver for what I do and how I live my life. It's devotion. Are you devoted to it? Are you devoted to it? Does that drive you? Have you been just focused on discipline instead of devotion? So get back to that devotion, that love. Remember why you do what you do. The purpose is there as well. That purpose that drives you, and purpose and love, and that's all part of the formula. So it's a really cool formula that you'll be able to implement that you can read about in the seven commitments that will take you forward. So the second commitment is giving your best. And the third commitment that I want to share today is the commitment to getting better. So great teams commit to getting better. And of course, we know this, right? It's about getting better, but so often we don't because we're having success. A lot of times when people are having success, they're focusing on the results and they're like, hey, we're good. Like, we're doing great. We don't need to work on getting better because we're doing awesome. But what I have found is great teams are humble and hungry. They're always learning and growing and improving. And John Madden said, winning is a great deodorant. It covers up what stinks about your team. So you could actually be winning and having success, but if you're not looking for ways to improve and grow, if you're not looking for the blind spots, if you're not looking for what might be holding you back, then you won't improve like you need to as a team. And eventually, if this happens, you become arrogant and complacent, then the team will actually start to slide back. Your results will start to fall. And this happens so often. So don't wait. Don't wait. Don't let this happen. The key is to make sure you head this off by focusing on committing as a team and in your culture to say, we are a culture, we are a team that always focuses on getting better, humble and hungry. And here's one of the keys to getting better. Every day, the team says, individually and collectively, what do we do well? What can we do better? When something happens, a shift, a change, an obstacle, what did we learn that will make us better? Those three questions. What are we doing well? What can we do better? What did we learn that will make us better? And you're constantly asking those simple questions that will allow you to get better. But another part of this is as a team, when you're not doing well, then you have to still focus on getting better because so often we can get discouraged if we're not hitting the results that we want, if we're not reaching the goals, if we're not experiencing the fruit of our efforts at that time. So we don't want to get discouraged. The key is to still focus as a team on the process and on getting better each day. And that requires you as a team to challenge each other. And I know so often as teams, we're not really comfortable with challenging each other, but this is how we get better. But in order to challenge each other, we have to make sure that first there's a lot of support and there's a lot of love along the way. There's a relationship that you're building in order to challenge each other. Because too often, if we're challenging, but there's no relationship, that will lead to rebellion. Andy Stanley said, rules without relationship lead to rebellion. So we have to make sure that we're building the relationship. I call this love tough. Great teams have love tough. What that means is there's a lot of love and support of each other. And because you have that, you then earn the right to challenge each other. If you have tough love, so often you'll burn each other out, you'll tune each other out, and you'll resent each other. So spend a lot of time with your team to develop the relationships with each other that will make you a stronger team and have that love and accountability. But you can't be afraid to challenge each other in order to grow and improve. The Seattle Seahawks under Pete Carroll used to have Tell the Truth Mondays, where they would tell the truth after a Sunday game and talk about who messed up, who needed to play better, how you can improve. The U.S. women's soccer team in the past, when they won the gold medal, after every match would get together and talk about who made a mistake, who messed up, who needed to play better. And they would talk about this. And no one took it personal, they told me, because they all wanted to be great together. They had small ego, big mission, which is key. Write this down. Small ego, big mission. Great leaders, great teams have small egos and a big mission of where they're going. And then to constantly focus on getting better. The key here, the key here is often difficult conversations. You got to have difficult conversations as a team. You got to bring up the issues. You got to be able to talk about those issues. Amy Kelly and I wrote a book called Difficult Conversations Don't Have to Be Difficult. And you'll meet Coach Amy in the book. She's one of the characters in the book that's based on my co-author, Amy Kelly, of Difficult Conversations. And Coach Amy works with the team and Coach Richie to help them become the best team they can be. And then years later, she winds up partnering again with Tim, now as an adult in his company, to help him develop these 7 commitments in his company, right? So difficult conversations are essential along the way in order to grow, in order to improve, in order to go get better. So you got to have them. You got to talk about the issues. You got to bring them to the light. You got to deal with the elephants in the room. So often we ignore the conversations as a team. We don't deal with the issues. We don't want to create conflict, but we need to have positive conflict, is what I call it. Write down positive conflict. Positive conflict is what makes us better. So we're going to have conflict because we're going to bring it up, we're going to talk about it, but we know it's to serve a positive purpose. And difficult conversations are essential to that. So right now in the chat, put down if you are committed to having some difficult conversations and willing to challenge some team members in order to get better. Are you willing to be uncomfortable to do that? Like, it's got to be a part of a framework, but are you willing to do that? And the question is, okay, how do I do that? And again, there's a framework around that. And what I can't go through it all here, but what you'll find in the book is you'll see these personalities play out as they have these team building sessions and talk about the very things I'm talking about with you. And as they do this as a team, you'll see it play out in a real dynamic way. And that will give you ideas for you and your team. So they're actually personalities in the book. And I named all of the teammates in the book after my former teammates. And so that was a lot of fun to do that, to name them after my teammates. And one of the characters is based on me, and he's a bad leader. So I made me the bad leader that needed to learn how to be a better leader on the team. I didn't want to put that on my teammates, right? So I took that as part of the story and the character in the book that has to learn how to be a better teammate. And they challenge this teammate. They challenge this person to be a better leader because he's not. And it's a really instrumental and key part of the book because we do have to challenge each other. And as part of this, I want to share the next commitment now. And it's the commitment to connect. I talked about the key of, in terms of having relationships, in order to be able to create an environment where you can challenge each other. There has to be love to have tough. Well, the commitment to connect is how we build the relationships and how we earn trust in order to be able to become a strong team. A connected team becomes a more committed team. This is one of my key principles I've been sharing now for 20 years. A connected team becomes a committed team. This is why the teams I work with so often perform at a higher level. This is why they win championships. And it's not me, it's not the books, it's these principles and these strategies and these techniques and these commitments that have made these teams great and win championships. And so it's the ability for a team to join together, to connect with each other. And as a result of that, they become more committed together. And I'm going to share with you right now, I'm going to share with you the 5 H's. This is my favorite team building exercise that I want to give you here. It's in the book, but I want to give you the 5 H's that you can implement. And you could start this week if you want, right? 5 H's that will help you build a stronger team. And the exercise is this. You gather your team together in person or virtually. People often ask me, Jon, can these work virtually? Yes. Everything we're talking about here can be done virtually. And we've done all of these things virtually and in person. During the pandemic, we were struggling like everyone else. We lost 100% of our business in 3 days. I remember getting those texts and those cancellations as I'm looking at the emails on my phone. It was like, darn it, darn it. First day. Second day, the world is shutting down. We're losing everything, losing like literally maybe our future in our business, thinking everything is going under. And it was like, damn, damn. The next day, it was crap. I'm not even going to say what I said after that, but let's just say I wasn't very positive. I had lost my positivity in that moment. And it was my wife who came up to me and she said, aren't you the guy that writes these positive books? I'm like, yeah. She's like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I said, no, it's not. No, it's not. Like, we're done. Everything we worked for, everything we try to help people with, like, we're done. Like, this whole world is shutting down. It was such a scary time. And she goes, well, don't you give all these people like positive advice? And I was like, yeah. She's like, follow your own advice. My wife said that. And I'm like, you're right. You're right. And in that moment, I made a decision myself to be a positive team member. And Amy Kelly said, hey, why don't we get the team together and every week we'll do exercises virtually that will make us a stronger team. Let's do our own stuff and see if we can come out of this stronger as a result. And we did. And I got to tell you, it made all the difference in the world as a result of us doing that as a team together. And these exercises will help you. So you gather your team together virtually or in person, and each person goes around and shares their five H's. And it's this: who's your hero? Who is your hero? What's a hardship that you faced that made you who you are today? A hardship that made you who you are today. One of mine is that my biological father left when I was a year old. So he left when I was a year old, and that was a part of my journey, part of my story. My mom got remarried to my dad. I call him my dad because he raised me since I was 5. And that made a huge impact in my life. He said, I want you to call me dad. I'm going to love you like my own. And he did. My biological father, though, him leaving caused me to feel abandoned a lot of times. I had to go up and eventually forgive him. I drove up with my daughter and made a visit to go see him up in New York from Florida. And I actually went and forgave him. And that was a hardship that I faced. But after that was actually when I started writing. I had to let go of the baggage and let go of the wounds and let go of the old to be able to create the new. So that's a hardship I faced, but it made me who I am today. Do you feel like you know me better from sharing that? Put in the chat if you feel like just me sharing that one little thing to you makes you feel like you know me better. Yeah, right. Well, guess what? When you do this exercise and your teammates are now sharing their hardship, you're going to get to know them a lot better. And tears often come down as a result of that. So tears do come down. So who's your hero? A hardship you faced, a hardship you faced that made you who you are today, a highlight that you are proud of. This is the fun part. What's a highlight? And then what's hilarious? Fourth H, what's hilarious? Fifth H, what do you hope for? And the hilarious part is just something funny. It's a story, a joke, something that happened in your life, something recently, whatever it may be. You share what's hilarious. And then what do you hope for? 5 H's. Each person goes around and shares that. And it is so powerful. You will learn things about your team members that you never knew before. We've had executives say, I never knew this about my colleague, and I've been working with them for 15 years. We've had coaches do the same thing. We've been working together all these years, and we learn things about each other we never knew. And then you become more united and connected. Vulnerability paves the way for meaningful relationships, strong connections, a bond of trust. The walls of pride and ego come crumbling down, and that leads to greater connection and greater commitment. So we did this with the Auburn golf team, the University of Auburn golf team, a number of years ago. They won the SEC championship. They won the SEC championship the year we did that as a team. Most golfers are not connected to their teammates. The coach said, I've never seen a group of golfers connected and committed like this after doing this exercise. It was so powerful. They won the SEC championship. Well, here's what's also cool. My daughter recently worked with them last year and did the same exercise with them, and they won it again. So it's powerful. I don't think it was me and my daughter. I think we did the exercise and they won again. Did this with Clemson football. That was the year they won the national championship back in 2016. We called it a safe seat, and we shared the H's. And Dabo had each guy share their story and their hardship. It was powerful. They won the national championship that year. I've done this with executive teams and organizations, do it with the leadership groups. I've had leaders do it with their team. Never goes wrong. So powerful. 5 H's. So what do you think? Powerful exercise? I see people posting that they've done it. Yeah, corporate environment, it's still very powerful. Like you're sharing your story. You're being vulnerable. You're sharing about yourself and who's your hero. Like a lot of times it's a parent maybe who passed away, or a grandparent, or a leader who impacted them. And as they go around, you just share. But again, there's little nuances, but we're going to do Q&A. If you have some questions about this at the end, feel free to ask a question on it, and we'll do a Q&A. As I said, towards the end, I'll be able to help you, guide you through that if you have any questions on the 5 H's. But You develop connection, and that leads to greater commitment. And then the last commitment I want to share today, there were a couple that I didn't share, but this is the last commitment I want to share for today. And it's the commitment to each other, that you're committing to connect, but then there's a commitment to each other. And what I have found is that great teams have to have people who are committed not just to the vision and mission, which is actually commitment number one in the book. It's not just the vision and mission, but it's also a commitment to each other. It's not just a thing or a vision, it's a person. I am committed to you, that I will serve and sacrifice for you, that you can count on me, that I'm going to be willing to give to you or give up something for you. Give to you or give up something for you. Service and sacrifice. So we have an exercise in the book where the team literally has to share what they're going to give and what they're going to give up. Powerful exercise. And there's also a part where you have to identify what is holding the team back. What are you doing that's holding the team back? What are you doing? What are you doing? Each person has to like help understand what could be holding the team back in order to get better. Like it's a really deep understanding of what builds a real and great team. And I just envision like all of these people reading this book together and using these principles and commitments and exercises in order to become stronger together. It's why I'm so excited about it. It's why I wrote it. I literally wrote it for teams to use this as like a manual, as a guide to become a stronger team. But if you're not committed to each other, it's not going to work. Like I was recently with a professional baseball team and I said, listen, guys, I said, I know you got paychecks. I know you have individual agents and success you want to achieve. I understand that. Everything that you do in your life and that you get from this, your contracts and the money, is the result of how you perform individually. I understand that. I said, but while you're with each other for this season, I just want to encourage you to commit to each other. Commit to the person in front of you. Commit to the moment, every moment, and commit to the team. And I said, if you do that, if you choose to do that while you're with each other this year, you will all perform at a higher level and you will help the team perform at a higher level. And you will also get your individual success and recognition. When we make the team better, we get better. When we selflessly serve and help others grow, we grow. That is the key to becoming a stronger and greater team. And individually, you benefit when you make others better. That's just the way it works. We live in a world that says, focus on yours, get yours. Man, just be selfish. No, the key to great teamwork, the key to great success is actually be selfless. Selfless. My friend Jim Murphy says, when you're selfish, you're fearless. When you're selfish, you're fearless. When you're selfish, you're fearless. Guess what? Yeah, when I'm fearless, I'm going to perform at a higher level. I'm going to be better. When I make my team the priority, I lose myself in the team. I lose my ego in the service of the team, and that's where I really improve. And it's where I really grow. So this is the key. You can tell I'm passionate about this. This is the key to building a strong team. It's that connection and commitment. And I just want to tell you one final story about this that I think is really relevant and important in terms of committing to each other. I learned this from my mom. And some of you have heard the story, but some of you haven't. But my mom and I were taking a walk years ago, 18 years ago now. And as we were walking, my mom got tired. And my mom never got tired. And I said, Mom, let's turn back. You're getting tired. She said, No, no, no. I want to go to the grocery store. I want to get you some stuff to make you a sandwich. My mom thought I would starve to death if I didn't have this sandwich for the 5-hour drive home. So we got the stuff, we made our way back. And the first thing she did was walk right into that kitchen. And she made me that sandwich. My mom was committed. She was tired, exhausted, but she was committed. She went in there and made me that sandwich. And you know what? I think about that all the time because my biological father, as I said, wasn't committed. My mom was. I saw the difference between a lack of commitment and real commitment. My name, my last name, Jon Gordon. Gordon is actually my mom's maiden name. Her last name was Gordon. We changed our last name to our mom's maiden name. I say we, my brother and I, to Gordon after college because our biological father wasn't committed, but our mom demonstrated commitment. And we wanted to recognize her and our grandparents who are so instrumental in our lives and helping raise us through those challenging times that we wanted that name of Gordon. So commitment recognizes commitment. When someone is committed to others, you get commitment back. You want to be a better leader? Commit to your team and you will get commitment back. You want to make your team better? Commit to them. You will get commitment back. So it's essential that we commit to others. Well, that name of Gordon, as I said, I think about that all the time because my biological father had two sons and his name ended with him. My mom was one of two daughters. So the Gordon name should not have continued on. And yet my brother and I have a son each with the last name of Gordon. So think about that. Now the Gordon name carries on. When you're selfish, your legacy ends with you. When you're selfless and committed, your legacy carries on. Commitment to others carries on. Commitment to your team carries on. Commitment to your family carries on. Commitment to those you lead carries on. It's about the commitment that you have to and for each other that lasts, that leaves a legacy, that makes an impact. So ultimately, it's about that commitment that changes teams, organizations, and changes the world. And yes, my name means something to me. That Gordon name is so special to me. It's my mom's commitment. My mom passed away those years ago after making me that sandwich, maybe like a couple weeks. It was the last time I saw my mom alive when she made me that sandwich. And I think about that sandwich all the time because her last act was that commitment to me, making a difference to me. So commitment means something, and my name means something, and your name means something, and how you commit to others means something. Your name carries on to the people that you lead. Make it mean something, and let's all decide today to be more committed. I'm going to take some Q&A. If Daniel wants to share a couple of words, a couple of thoughts here, and I'm so excited that you were here. Tell me what you, as Daniel's doing that, tell me what you took from today so far. Just what you got from today. What's one thing that stands out to you that we talked about with the commitments that you're going to put into practice, that you're going to use? The 5 H's, Nicole, awesome. Yeah, I love the 5 H's. And there's a lot, again, there's so much else in the book. I couldn't share it all today. We didn't have time for everything, as you can tell. But there's just so many different gems and tools and techniques in the book, like the 5 H's that are really powerful.
We've
Daniel,
been,
you want to share where they're doing that?
yeah, we've been doing this a long time, and I have to say, this is one of the best webinars we've ever done. I'm fired up. Are you guys fired up? Drop that in the chat too. If
Every time I
something
talk
in
about
this,
this, I don't know. I think this is
ah,
my favorite talk because I've spoken about it to that baseball team was my first talk on it to the baseball team, and I
and
just
I'm
was
over here
fired up.
tearing up from your mom's story.
Yeah,
It's so
it hits
powerful.
in a different way.
So powerful. Well, guys, of course, everything Jon is sharing today is from his new book. And before that, we're going to do Q&A in just a minute. So using the Q&A feature of Zoom, if you're on your desktop or on your phone, there should be a little Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. You can hit that and we'll take some of your questions live as well. And I think, Jon, one of the first questions that we'll get into when we get into that, because there was a lot of questions about the 5 H's and like how you actually do it. I think we'll hit that first. But everything Jon is sharing is from the new book, from the 7 commitments. Let me bring this up here. The 7 commitments of a great team. It's available for pre-order right now. It comes out May 20th. If you go and pre-order and then you jump over to the 7commitments.com website, you're going to be able to claim free bonuses, which includes your ability to read this book now. Like you can start reading the whole thing this week. We're sharing a digital review copy with our launch team, so you can read it before anybody else gets it, a whole month before it comes out. But you just jump over to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever you're at, pre-order the book, then go to
Yeah,
seven.
Daniel, honestly, just join I'd love for you to join my launch team. I really would love for you all to join my launch team. Like, I'm gonna pour into this launch team during the launch as well. We're gonna have a separate session for just the launch team, and really, all you gotta do is get the book, join the launch team, and help us spread the word on this so that we can help more teams become united and connected. And you get to read the book literally this week. So I want you to read it so you can start using the principles and with your team, and you'll be ahead of the game with everyone else. Everyone you watch, everyone's going to start talking about commitments. Everyone's been talking about goals for years. This is going to change the dialogue. Everyone's going to start talking about commitments based on this, and you'll be at the forefront of it.
I love it. And you're also going to get a downloadable action plan like we have with all of John's books. It's going to help you take the ideas and turn them into application and practice. But even better, even beyond just reading it, if you want to take it even further, you can teach it. I'll jump over to 7commits.com. But we have
Yeah, that's the website.
a
Number seven commitments. Number seven commitments.
yeah,
Yeah.
7commitments.com. You can jump over to that. There's also some bonus options there if you want to buy in bulk for your team. We've got options for 25, 100 books, 1,000 books. You can get John to do a private Q&A session with your team, or have him come in for a keynote if you buy 1,000 books, 2,000 books. All that info is on 7commitments.com. So just jump over there and be sure to check that out. But again, like the thing that if you want to take this even further, if you've loved everything you've heard and you want to, go more than just reading it, you want to teach it, we've got an opportunity with this to become a certified positive leadership trainer. And you're going to get the 7 commitments of a great team included, in addition to all these books that you see on the side of the screen here. You get 5 books in one to be certified. And we provide all of the resources, the support, everything you're going to need that's equipping you to go out and deliver keynotes, workshops, coaching on all of this content. You'll get it all. But you just jump if you're interested in something like that. John, I'll let you, share a little bit more if you want to. But
Yeah,
you
I just
can,
want to share that. Yeah, what this allows people to do is deliver workshops to their team and their organization, their company. So you can do this to your entire company, your team, or other companies and other teams if you get certified. So we just wanted to create a way that we have these now 5 different programs: difficult conversations, energy bus. Go to the backslide, power of positive leadership, energy bus, 7 commitments, and you get to deliver workshops and trainings on these if you want to deliver them to your company organization. This is not for everybody, but if you're someone who is called to do this, this is how we're going to impact the world together. Why everyone coming into this and saying, all right, we're going to take these programs and concepts and go impact organizations, people, schools, nonprofits, you name it, with the 7 commitments. That's how we're going to change the world. And you'll get to do what you love too if you feel called to do this. Again, if you feel called, this is right for you.
yeah, and it's an opportunity to make a greater impact, an income. Again, we're equipping you. We've got so many resources that are available for you. Monthly coaching. There's all kinds of things that are pouring into you with our team to make this just as easy as it can be. So if you're interested in that, just jump over to jongordon.com/apply, and you can apply, and you'll get on a call with our team. They'll be able to walk you through all the details to make sure this is the right fit for you, and that this is going to be something that really impacts.
Yeah. This is only, again, this is if you feel called to do it. And if you're not the right fit, we're going to tell you, we're going to say, hey, this is probably not the best fit for you. But if you're someone who wants to do this and has a purpose to do it, then we're going to say, hey, this is something that's right. We feel like we've seen these other people who are part of our team. You fit like they do. You should go do this work, go make an impact, join us in that. We're going to have that conversation. So if there's a little part of you that's saying, hey, I want to do that, then this is probably you letting you know, your soul letting you know that this is something you might step into. Don't let fear hold you back if you truly know you want to make a difference.
Love that. All right,
All
we're going to
right,
jump into Q&A. So we've
let's
got
do
a
some
bunch.
Q&A. Here we go.
Yeah, we've got a bunch coming in. Again, if you want to drop your question in, obviously we can't get to all, but we'll get to as many. But John, let's start off while I read through some of these, just walking people through the 5 H's. Like, how does it happen? People were asking, like, do we go, person to person? Like, what's a application of it look like?
I like each person going at once and they share their 5 H's before the next person goes. So, because as you go, you get more comfortable as you're sharing. People are hearing your story, your highlight, your hardship, what's hilarious, what do you hope for? So each person goes one at a time. And as you do that, by the end, you can wrap it all up, with comments together. But I like each person going one at a time.
Here's one. They didn't give a name, but how do you deal with teammates that create a toxic vibe that puts the whole team on shut up mode?
Hmm. One person can't make a team, but one person could break a team. And this is why it's so important that this book is out there. Like I literally have dealt with so many teams that have all these various issues. So I wrote this book to deal with all the issues that teams have. And if a team reads this together and goes through it together, well, it's going to be evident that you cannot allow that one toxic person to sabotage the team because I talk about that as part of the book. It's part of the story. So it's going to not be okay anymore to be moody. It's not going to be okay to be negative. It's going to be something that we have to talk about in our difficult conversations. It's something we talk about with our culture. So this starts at the cultural level with leadership and team members getting together and saying, what kind of team do we want to be and what are we going to commit to? And we commit to staying positive and not allowing negativity to sabotage our team. So we have the conversations. Now, if someone is being negative, then we got to bring it to the light. We got to talk about it with the leader, with a few of the team members, and have a conversation with that person who is being negative and start really getting that person to be a part of the team. If not, we do so often have to let people go if they're not willing to change and they're not willing to commit to the team because that person will sabotage the team if you let it. And it's the biggest mistake that leaders make. They don't allow, I mean, sorry, they allow the negativity to persist and exist and eventually will sabotage the team. And that's why I work with so many organizations and companies developing their leaders. Like I literally go into companies and we work with their leaders to be the kind of leaders that help their teams thrive and create positive environments to allow their people to perform at their highest level. This is what our certification and workshops are all about. Our certified trainers now are going to do the same. And they're going through companies around the world now, helping companies and leaders deal with these issues. And everywhere we go, the team performs higher. Everywhere we go, guess what? Some people do leave. Some people leave and some people change. It's always something that happens, but guess what? It's always for the good. The people that leave, it's for the good. And everyone says that was awesome. That made us better. I can tell you so many stories about where some people left, some people were asked to leave, and as a result, the team got a lot better. So these are the conversations we have to have, and it's not science. There's an art to it, and it takes more than just what I'm sharing with you right here, right now. And that's where consulting and training and the workshop comes in to talk about these things.
Love it. A couple are asking in the chat about like how to get the bonuses. So if you just go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever you want, and pre-order the book, it comes out May 20th, but you can pre-order it now. And then go to sevencommitments.com. There's links in the chat. We'll send a link out after this call too. And on that page, you'll see a place to claim your bonuses. And that's where you just put in your order info, your email, and then we'll get you access to all these things too. Several are asking about also like what are all of the 7 commitments, but you got to read the book. Jon can't give it all away right now. Jon, somebody's asking, who is your
I want to surprise you. I don't want to give it all.
yeah.
It's not even about that. I just want to surprise you. I want it to be fun. I don't want you to hear it all now because like there's a discovery on it. I will tell you this. I didn't have the seventh commitment. And then there was a conversation with Damon West, who I wrote the coffee bean with. And I said, Damon, what's one of the best team building exercises you've ever done? He goes, well, I can't tell you the one I've done because I don't do team building exercises, but I can tell you what I experienced in prison. And I saw this happen in prison. And when he told me the story, I wove it into the book story. And then from there, I realize that that was the seventh commitment. And it's actually then becomes the first commitment. And it's so important. So it was really cool, like magical moment when he told me that. I'm like, boom, that's it. I now know how my book's going to end. And I had my ending based on that conversation that led to the seventh commitment. I even wove that into the story because you'll read it. There's 6 commitments, but then there's a seventh that's added towards the end that becomes the title, the seventh commitment.
I love that. Yes, we will be sending a replay out of this, and you guys are encouraged to share it with others. You should watch it with your team, whatever works for you. So, Jon, question from Elizabeth: will this strategy work with kids or middle school, or how does it work with youth?
Oh yeah. I mean, every commitment I talk about will work with all different levels. I think of Ruby Cast, who I had on my podcast, and she's now 96 years old and she's still a teacher. And she told me when she was teaching years ago, she was teaching the grandparents of the kids that she's teaching now. That's how old she is. She was teaching the grandparents. She told me she had these kids form a magic circle. She called it the magic circle. And around the magic circle, the kids would go around and share what was on their heart and what they were happy about or what was bothering them. And she said in doing that, the kids got so connected and became like a family doing that, even little kids doing that. And when she told me that, I thought, wow, she didn't even know I was writing this book. She didn't know I even have a circle. I have Jon Gordon's circle where I have a circle that I pour into. I mentor. I have a group mentorship program and I have about 80 people that I mentor, every month. And we have these incredible conversations and we go deep And so she didn't even know that I had that or that the story was coming out. And she told me that. So at any age, you can actually do these exercises.
Awesome. Robin said, how do you stay committed and positive in the midst of transformation change in your company where a lot of trust is being lost?
Yeah, it's hard to stay positive when you're dealing with trust issues. That's why so much of the commitments are really built around trust. Because if you don't have trust, you can't have the connection, the commitment that you need. It all comes down to trust ultimately. And if trust is being lost, then what's happening is those leaders are not communicating to build trust. And a big part of our whole positive leadership program is enhancing trust, building trust, so that when you deal with difficult times, you're communicating in a way that there's relationships, and those relationships have bonds, and there's trust, and there's connection, and there's commitment. As a result of that, you get through tough times together. But you can still stay positive yourself no matter what's happening around you. It's knowing that you create from the inside out. So no matter what's happening around you, you choose to be positive. You choose to be a trusted leader amongst your peers. You show up every day being the best that you can be. And if everyone does that around you, you'll watch. You'll still have an impact where you are. But unfortunately, we have a lot of organizations where that's happening. We need to talk to those leaders so they can lead better. And that's, again, I'm on that mission to do that as well. It's why I'll probably always have a job, because we're always going to have leaders who don't lead the way they need to build trust during those challenging times. And maybe it's because they just don't know how. So perhaps they need the skills to become a better leader.
I love it. Would you recommend, Rachel said, would you recommend having the team read the book individually on their own or going through it together as a team, like at the same time?
Now, everyone individually read it on their own, though, at the same time. And then I would have weekly discussions on the book. So you can go through a commitment once a week, for instance, and then discuss that commitment that week. If you do that together as a team, and I'm a big fan of book studies in companies, in churches, and nonprofits, and schools and organizations, because I've seen the impact when an organization does this and they all read the book together, because I have 32 books. So I've heard a lot of stories of organizations reading my books together. They have a common language. It allows them to have great discussions on these issues. When you talk about energy vampires, for instance, then everyone understands what they're dealing with. The common dialogue allows everyone to know what they're dealing with and how to overcome. And then you start having groupthink in a positive way, right? Not cultish way, but in a positive way that allows you to deal with the challenges, the adversity. And that begins to help create your culture. Everyone has the knowledge, everyone has the awareness, and everyone's talking about what's important. That's how you build great teams. And book studies are a great part of that.
Amanda, kind of similar question to what you asked, but it's a little different way. So I'm going to put it. But Amanda said, how do you suggest we work to uphold the team commitments in an organization where the team has many reporting structures and not all the leaders are invested in the same way?
Yeah. That's why we really have to do this team wide and company wide. So the first step is to make your team great. Every team works on being a great team. And if every team does this and operates in that way, well, they'll make the organization great. And they'll show the other divisions, other departments in the organization what that commitment looks like. So I guarantee there's going to be a lot of teams that read this book that will actually set the tone, help create the culture, and show the rest of the organization what it looks like to be a committed team. And people are going to go, hey, what's up with that team? How can we become more like that? So you set the tone, and then we've got to introduce this and share this with the other divisions, the other leaders, to get them on the bus too. As I wrote in the energy bus, you got to get everyone on the bus and moving in the right direction with a shared vision, focus, and purpose. But if you can't control the other buses, which so often you can't, you focus on making your bus great, make your team great, and set the example. Be the model for others, and that's how you draw others to you. I was just in Tucson, the Gospel Rescue Mission. They literally have a new model for dealing with the homeless, and the way they're doing it is unbelievable in how they're doing it and the difference they're making. They're now having other cities reach out to them saying, hey, tell us how you're doing it. We want to learn so we can do that here. So you become a model for others. There's model schools that show other schools what this looks like. We have energy bus for schools. Those schools are model schools for other schools. And a school just says, hey, how did you do that? Give us the blueprint. So this is the blueprint for being a great team. And then we just start sharing that blueprint for others. But again, that's why I'm also doing the certification because you have the certification. You're able to deliver this to your team, PowerPoints, workshops, all the material. Then you can take that to every other team in your company and organization. And you don't, there's no extra cost to do that. It's very, very inexpensive to do that company wide. It's not a great revenue model for us, but it's a great impact model. It's a huge impact model. And that's what I'm focusing on for the rest of my life, impact.
Yeah, I mean, what we have with the certification is unreal. I mean, to get all five books and the ability to train on those things for what's for the minimal investment, it's unreal. John, well, we've got time for maybe one or two more questions. Several are asking, kind of, I'll paraphrase here, like, is there a particular commitment that's more important than the other? Like, did they start with a particular commitment? Like, where do they begin?
It made me say that last seventh commitment because that one is the most important of all. And I'm like, no, don't make me say it.
Don't
It's
say
it's
it.
no, it's that one. It's that commitment. And if you do that commitment, all the other commitments matter. But if I had to add one to what I said today, what I shared today, the most important one I would say is committing to each other. Like that's where you really get great commitment. Like it's always personal. We say it's just business, it's always personal. And when you know someone has your back, you're going to be more open to their feedback. If someone really cares about you, you're going to allow them to challenge you. So when there's trust and when there's a commitment to each other, and it's primal, right? We're human beings. We want to be safe. We want to know that someone has our back. We want to know that we can trust them. When you have that, then you can do all the other things to be a great team.
Awesome. Milt is asking, does training for the certification allow you to train others within your organization?
No, then those in your company. Yeah, yeah, you can train everybody. We have people that are getting certified that are actually training people in their company, and then they're doing nonprofits, they're doing their actual customers, they're doing trainings with them. We allow people to use it and make an impact everywhere.
Now, you can't certify others. You can train and coach and
Yeah.
keynote, yeah, just to
Yeah,
clarify.
as someone who's certified, you develop leaders. So we're giving you the ability to develop leaders in your organization, develop teams in your organization, and develop leaders and teams in other organizations as well.
We'll take one more. What books would you think are the most complementary to the Seven Commitments?
Yeah, so the energy bus is like the foundation of it all. But the power of a positive team, I would say the power of a positive team is a book I wrote that was the how-to book. It wasn't a fable. And in my mind, I wanted Seven Commitments to be a fable that shared some of the concepts in the power of a positive team. And it shares some of the material and the information and the insights in some of my other books, but wrapped into one framework and program that anybody can implement to develop a stronger team. So, Power of a Positive Team, which had a lot of ideas and principles to building a stronger team. So, I would say the Power of a Positive Team is most like the Seven Commitments. One is how to, one is a fable, very distinct and different, but similar. So, I would say Difficult Conversations has an element as part of the Seven Commitments, but it's just an element part. And you'll find like the LIGHT, you'll find some elements of the One Truth training camp. And as I said, the no complaining rule get to woven into light.
That's awesome. John, as we wrap up, is there any parting words you want to share about the Seven Commitments? And just a reminder to folks, if you haven't picked up a copy, just go to Amazon or Barnes& and Noble, The Seven Commitments of a Great Team, and then go to sevencommitments.com and you can plug in your stuff to claim your bonuses, which includes the ability to read the book. We're sending out the review copy link tomorrow. So if you get in today, you're going to get the review copy tomorrow. You can start reading it right away before anybody else. You'll get an action plan coming soon and access to other resources as well.
Yeah, I just want to share, Daniel. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us. Like, really, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart for being on this. There were so many. We had over 3,000 register for this, which means a lot. And the fact that you trust me to be able to share with you, I hope it was valuable. I hope that you have a takeaway of what you can use and how you can inspire others with it and how you can become a more committed team. My heart with writing this book, like I was so excited about writing it, which is why I think it took 16 days, was because I really knew what would make a team great. And these seven commitments are what does that. Now, here's the key I want to leave with. It's not about what you think. Commitments are about what you do. This is about action. You could say you're going to be committed, but if you don't commit, then it doesn't happen. We have to commit day in and day out to be our best. I learned this in my marriage. My wife has to sense and feel my commitment. She has to see my commitment to her in our marriage. And that commitment is what built our marriage. We now are going to be celebrating 28 years May 17th. So May 17th is 28 years of marriage. Ups and downs, lots of challenges. Times I wasn't very committed. I had to learn to be a committed team member, a committed husband, a committed father. But in my commitment, that's what got commitment back. My daughter is now speaking, doing this work at 26 years old. She's giving a keynote tomorrow. She's becoming a dynamo in doing this. And in seeing her do this work, I realized if I wasn't committed to her, there's no way she would want to do this work and make an impact. And so my mom was committed to me. I'm committed to my daughter, and that spreads. It's going to be the same thing with your family and your team members. When you commit to your family members, you commit to your team, and they receive that commitment and they feel that commitment. They're going to go out and be committed to others. So this is not even just for you. This is also for everyone else that will actually be the beneficiary of your commitment. And you being that model will show others what it looks like. And you may not be someone who's the president of the United States. You may not be someone who's sending people into space, right? But your daily commitment each day to your family and to others, that's what I admire most. I meet people out there in the world that are so committed to their team, to their loved ones, to their organization, to their nonprofits. And I meet them and I get so inspired. I did a Zoom the other day for Bronx lacrosse, and Dan Leventhal, like his commitment to those kids in Bronx lacrosse in the Bronx and bringing lacrosse to these kids and giving them a hope and a future. Like that just touched my heart. I said, Dan, you're my hero. Like what you're doing, man, that is unbelievable. And I know there's millions of stories out there. That's what gets me fired up. That's what gets me excited. So remember, it's about action, not talking. Coach Richie said to me as a college lacrosse player, remember, John, the talkers talk and the doers do. Be a doer. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you, everybody. I just got to point out Jason's comment. It echoes mine. It's the best webinar I've ever watched.
Oh, that means so
All
much.
right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Hope it was worth it.
All
Take
right.
care.
Watch your email for a replay of
Yeah.
this.
Oh, yeah. And share the replay.
Yeah,
Share the
totally.
replay with your team. Share it with your friends. Share it with your kids. Feel free to share it. We want this message to get out there and help others. All right. God bless you all. God bless.